No.
I want you to,
can't.
okay, hum a few themes from 9.
What is it?
That's every Final Fantasy so far.
But what if I'm not opening packs of cards? What if I don't know? What?
What are you going to do with them if you don't open them?
Well, what if I don't know that they're there?
Then you're not playing the game very well.
We have these experiences that at the time they just seem like, diversion basically. And then they end up being like this real backbone, core part of who we are.
I guess I need to start putting this.
Gotta strip down, put it on. And to make it even more fun, I usually add a little bit of this. It's not required.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Alexander,
I thought the best fucking summon ever. It's an entire castle.
Edward dying.
No other Final Fantasy game looks like
Edward he doesn't die. They're all not actually dead.
Teledyne.
So this week we are doing the top 10 Final Fantasy games, and we didn't fight too much.
That aren't tactics.
That aren't tactics, this is true. Just ones that have Roman numerals. And we really got stuck on 4 versus 9. And Kyle, you and I favor 9 in the 2 slot, and you two gents thought 4 should be there. So we're here to beat each other up about it. Blood, just give me 4. Give me 4 in 10 words or less. Why is it great?
10 words or less. It introduced drama to the series. I'd say that probably the quickest encapsulation. Before that, we had a bunch of job roles. And now we have characters.
This is true, but I would say
That's 3 words. I think we still get 7 more. I'd say it's classic Final Fantasy.
It is.
It really is. I think a lot of the things in 4, they took it forward, and you'll see that in the rest of the series, no matter how bizarre and convoluted it gets and weird they got with 13.
I want to make a rule for the rest of this discussion. You have to talk in present tense about that game.
For me, it's the comparison between something like 7 or like 10, which is we're going to do something new, which is like you said, we're going to try story for the first time. And, it was really great, like you're saying, at the time, past tense.
Right.
Like at the time it was really remarkable. But then you have a game like 6 or you have a game like 9 that really takes everything that they've learned in that whole generation, it just nails it. And so for everything I really like in 4 that stands out, for like those, for those, there were like 4 or 5 really great story moments in 4, but there's a lot of really confusing, just weird stuff that was weird because it was kind of a mistranslation between Japanese culture and American culture at the time.
You're Spoonie Bard, though. But the weird things were classic.
They were classic.
We're classic. We're classic.
Also, you can't bring the classic argument because, 9 is classic. 9 is.
Who would quote anything from 9? What is a quote from 9? Can you think of a good one?
Well, I can't think of quotes.
How about when they say rally ho instead of lolly ho and everyone's
I still go back to lolly ho. That's I love that.
There are characters in 9, and I'm not just saying this. I went back to do some research on 9 because you have to know things. There are characters I forgot existed.
Right.
I did not Can you tell me if I feel like amaranth? I'm like, I read the word and I'm like, what is an amaranth? And then I look it up, and it's this grotesque Muppet that looks like he's from the Isle of Misfit Toys.
I think he looks
the Isle of Misfit Toys. And I was like, who is this guy?
I think there's a lot of don't judge a book by its cover in 9, like Queen of Quen. Like what's going on here? Or like Vivi. It's like we're all being attacked by these things that are killing us. So you're technically one of them. It's like Short Circuit or something, where it's like he's trying to discover his own identity. And I think
Vivi's the saddest thing. Vivi
is cool.
Is going to die. Vivi learns that he is going to die. And by the end of the game, he has died. Like, that is sadder than anything that happens in Final Fantasy IV.
I feel bad for him. Yeah, a lot of people do lose their lives in 4. It's 4 is like pretty much. 4 is more melodrama than 9.
4 has fake out deaths. It's like, oh, I died, and just like, oh, I'm here at the end of the game to fight beside you. That happens like 3 times in 4.
It's the power of love.
It's epic. But I remember, and keep in mind, when I first played 4, I didn't play it on the Super Nintendo. I played it when we did the retrospective. So this is like 2007.
Really?
I'm an adult playing this game.
Crazy.
And I'm like, what's happening? I don't even know. Like, I'm really trying to pay attention here, and I can't follow the story.
I feel like in 4, you at least know what you're doing. Like, I have to climb Mount Ordeals. Cecil wants to become a paladin. Okay, we have to stop the Giant of Babel. It's it's wrecking shit, you know? We need to go to the land of summon monsters, you know?
Wait,
But in
no, how
9,
is that cohesive? That's just
what are
a
you
bunch
doing?
of things happening.
Those are things
like
that propel
episodes
you.
of a TV show.
I'm not spelling out the entire plot. Those are things that happen, and those are things the player knows he's doing. I'm like, I need to go here and do this for a reason. In 9, I really have trouble recalling.
Most of the places you go
where
in
are you
9
trying to go? What are
are
you doing?
motivated by the characters. Like you're learning things about the characters.
They waste a lot of time
You
just
go
developing characters, and you have a gimped party with like one guy. You spend all this time and like, okay, you know, Reiner, I kind of hate you. You look
mean
like
Steiner?
Yes. Steiner.
Steiner
yeah.
is meant to be
Steiner.
hated at the beginning of the game.
No, he's a wiener the entire time.
No,
and he looks
oh
like
my
a
gosh.
grotesque caricature of an actual human
No,
being.
he has a personality that changes throughout the course of the game, which is what happens in a good story when someone is a different person in the
You
beginning.
just said
than
that
they
was
come out at the
lame
end.
when Cecil did it.
Lame.
How about art? Do you want to talk about why the art in 4 is better than 9?
You know,
Because it
art-
wasn't trying to reinterpret
style,
the
yeah,
art
I think
of the previous
style
games.
is the more important.
There's-
Style is the more important thing.
9's art.
9 is a reflection of like the Final Fantasy as a series.
No, it isn't. It's
But-
unique. There's nothing else like this art. There's no other game past this.
I think
that
there's
looks
a, I
the
think
same
there's
way.
a reason for that. The reason they
Yes,
went with
because-
super deformed in the sprite-based games is so they could convey some emotion. Like, this is a limitation. We can't make these guys look like they do in their character portraits, you know? So sure, I mean, the technology is stronger in a later game. You know, it just gets stronger and stronger.
They're
But
animated
that
characters.
doesn't
They're-
necessarily mean the game
So
is
the
a better
reason
game.
the reason why they have big heads is that they're animated characters, and like other animated characters you might see in TV and movies, they have big heads so they can show more expressions. You can't
Well,
look
their
at like,
expressions horrify
like
me.
point to me at like
I
peanuts
don't-
and say why aren't their heads? You could draw smaller, Charles Schultz. You could draw a smaller head.
Huh?
You have that capability.
And 9 was such a departure from 8 that I think the art in 9 is more impressive because it's all coming out of nowhere. It's all literally them being like, here's a whole different way to approach doing this style in 3D. Whereas 4 was like, let's just take these pixels and just add more pixels and just up
I
the
don't know.
art.
I don't
upraise the
favor it.
art.
I think there's a reason we haven't seen other games look like that.
Because Square Enix doesn't think they can make money on it. Here, Sakaguchi, the guy who created Final Fantasy, was like, this is my dream project. And they were like, okay, well, but don't put it in the thing, just make a separate game. And then he's like, no, it's 9. We're making it 9. This is going to be 9.
But the music, I think, you know, universally probably we can all agree that Final Fantasy IV has better music, better battle themes,
We
more
absolutely
memorable
can't do
themes.
that. No.
I
No,
want
we
you to,
can't.
okay, hum a few themes from 9.
Dun,
What is
dun,
it?
dun, 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 dun,
That's every Final Fantasy so
dun,
far.
dun, dun,
Yeah, okay.
the opening theme rips me into pieces, man. The
Yeah.
plays over the menu.
Yeah, and shoot, I could almost sing Garnet's song. She has a song she sings.
With real vocals?
Yeah, well, at the end,
you just do
during,
one
during the
line?
end credits, there's real vocals. I can't do it. That's too embarrassing. But yeah, there's, it's just like,
Way less memorable.
From a standpoint of
Way
quality,
less
it's like better music.
Oh no, even
Oh,
though I
come
think the
on,
audio quality is not great. Now the Final Fantasy IV, the boss battle theme in 4 I think is one of the best. It's really good.
Hum that.
It's really good,
Hum that
huh?
for us.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And they have an awesome bass line in there, which I
Yeah.
can't do at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it starts with a da-da-da-da-da, and of course
Yeah.
they keep that
Yeah.
in 9. I think
So,
it was a
like,
mistake
in
for them
9
to
it sounds
not
better-
start every battle theme with that, you know,
So it
that
like
opening
sounds
riff.
better at 9. It sounds better.
It actually doesn't sound better because they start getting these weird trumpets and violins, and it sounds
They
compressed
should go back.
audio.
They should have made it the 16-bit sound.
Why do you like 9 better?
9 is a fully realized world. It is a world that exists and you can be in it.
What
It's
does
a
that
world
mean
built
compared-
from.
so
it's a
like-
world built from pieces of other Final Fantasies. It's like a
Every-
composite world.
Every
it's a
environment
reflection
you're
world.
in, like that chair is only that chair. Do you know what I mean?
The pre-rendered chair. Is
Yeah,
only
that pre-rendered chair is
pre-rendered
only that pre-rendered chair. Like every
That's
environment
okay.
is its own unique space. In a game like modern Final Fantasies, it's a lot of like copied,
It's true.
pasted
But
HD
you know, I
assets.
wish polygon characters looked more natural in
And-
the pre-rendered backgrounds.
And
you know?
in Final Fantasy IV, it's
that's
just
one of the
pixel
tech-
art. It's just
yeah,
like,
that's
here's
one
my
of the
grid.
tech
I'm just dropping pixels into my grid. Here's
you know,
the
it's,
environment.
it's what they had at the time.
It is what they had at the time.
So I reviewed Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare this week, and you played a considerable amount of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Rohan Rivas, what did you think?
I did. I liked it. It was surprisingly accessible. I mean, it's super, super basic, but at the same time, it was it had a lot of personality. It was very colorful, and as a third-person shooter, it played really, really, really well.
What do you look for? Because I don't play a lot of competitive shooters. Like, I don't spend a lot of time just like running around shooting people in the face, and I know you do and are very good at it. So you felt satisfied playing PvZ?
Yeah, I mean, so both sides, the zombies and the plants, there are 4 classes, and they operate kind of like enemy territory or Team Fortress. Like, they have very specific abilities, like the cactus, she is a sniper. So for me, when I play like a third-person shooter, I want everything to feel very cohesive. And choosing these different characters felt fun and fluid. And the controls worked really, really well. When I shot something, it all felt very natural, and my hits felt like they hit. And when I would dive behind cover or run away, like, it all felt very responsive.
What makes a cactus a she?
It's a she. I don't know, but it is definitely a she in the game.
I'm not a botanist, so I don't really know the plant genders.
They refer to her as a she,
as
so
a
I
she.
want to honor that and respect that.
But you did not play Garden Warfare, but you do have a bit of a history with plants and zombies.
And zombies together. No, I played a lot of the old tower defense, Plants vs. Zombies, and so I was really excited to hear about a new Plants vs. Zombies. And then I heard it was a shooter, and I just kind of blew my mind. And I said, first off, why? Why does the Plants vs. Zombies franchise need to go there? And how awesome is this going to be, you know?
Well, I mean, I think they saw that they had a very successful franchise for casual players. Let's translate this to something more console-driven.
So is it more of, would you, and I hate to use the C word, but is it more casual than a lot of other first and third person shooters?
I would say it's like in this weird middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like the mechanics are very traditional third person shooter, but its presentation is very casual and easy to digest and understand.
Reminded me a lot of Orcs Must Die. Didn't have so many like traps and stuff like that, but there still is some tower defense in there that you, if you're on the zombie side, you can spawn zombies that, you know, so if you find a little dirt pile, you can like, oh, I'm going to send a pale zombie in, you know, just to confuse and just to add more stuff, more targets for them. And if you're on the plant side, you can plant, reserves, and so in that way, it's kind of like you can put, little turrets down. And if you're the sunflower, you can heal them. So it's kind of fun to throw down like a really good plant and then just heal that and shoot while I'm standing next to it as the sunflower. Or did you have a favorite on either side of the skirmish?
I would actually have to say it's like, I would say the pea shooter, which is like the plants, just kind of basic foot infantry, very simple. As a whole, like the game is just really presentable. It's polished. It feels very refined, and it has a lot of personality. I don't know, how long that will last and hold my interest, because I think it is kind of shallow once you get past all that. There's not much substance there. I had zero expectations for this game, and I had never really got into the tower defense game, and I'm digging it. I had a blast with it over the weekend. And you're talking to a guy who loves playing, Call of Duty, Gears of War, all of those hardcore shooters, and I dig it.
One thing that struck me as kind of bizarre while playing the game is just the concept of being like humanoid zombies versus plants. And actually see, like I found myself shooting at the other side of the like when I was a plant, I'd like shoot at plants and forget like, oh wait, no, it's zombies this time. Because in Halo, it's like you're red, I'm blue. In Titanfall, it's like you have armor on, I have armor on. Whereas like you are different species, you're totally different. I thought that was interesting and unusual. I can't remember a lot of games that there's such a huge difference between between the two
I mean, like I
sides.
said earlier, there's like the game has such personality, and so I mean, it appeals to a lot of people. Like I was actually playing it, my wife walked by and she was like, oh, this is cute, and like took a second to like look at what I was doing. She never does that with video games. So I think that they've, like with the original Plants vs. Zombies, I think they've crossed over into this weird territory where it's appealing to everyone, but at its core, it's a shooter game.
Do the classes feel like they are all unique and can do their own contribution?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, each class has a very defined set of abilities that you can only do those things when playing as that class, and they're complementary. Like I said, like the cactus earlier, you can set up little barricades, and those are strategic.
Yeah, on the zombie side, the quarterback, the all-star, can throw up little dummies. Like there's one thing where you have to take the plant's garden, and gardens versus graveyards versus mode, where you just kind of like go and take the whole map. So when you're trying to take a garden, if you can get 3 of those all-stars in there and they can set up these barricades, you just can physically block the plants from getting in there. And so it's kind of fun.
I was actually surprised by the modes. Like
Yeah.
there's the Garden Warfare, which is like just a team of 4.
Garden ops, yeah.
Garden
You
ops.
just protect the garden.
Yeah, and it's AI driven.
Right.
The
zombies are AI in your plants.
correct, and then you can do like a standard deathmatch, which is I think it was like 12 on 12. There was a lot. There's a robust set of modes for the game, which surprised me.
A lot of effects, a lot of sparklies, a lot of explosions, a lot of one of the guys is like a cloud that he can throw in the foot soldier, to cloak everybody. And so again, you get like 3 or 4 of those guys throwing in, and you're just like lost in this cloud of smoke that's damaging to plants. So like a lot of fun particle effects, and it's on Xbox One, so it's technically a next-gen game.
No, it looks great. The frame rate is smooth, and you have to have those elements of performance if you're going to get a really good shooter.
Is it like the old game in that it had like all sorts of crazy comedy to it? They had backgrounds for all the plants. They had bios for all the plants. But does it have like a real personality like that?
It has a little bit of that, and you can customize, which is really great. So all of them have different outfits that they can wear, and tattoos and goggles and stuff. And so it's like funny when I unlock something and I'll go into a multiplayer match, and then some guy will go by me in some funny like pinstriped clown wig thing, and it's like, oh, I want to see if I can unlock that. So those are really funny. The sound design I thought was really funny. I noticed and pointed out to Ryan, I pointed out in the review that like one of the drones sounds like it's actually a person going, brr, 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 like when it's flying around. Yeah, the comedy is still there.
They inject a lot of that personality into the little things, and I think it reads 100% translated from what you're familiar with.
So the stickers.
Yeah.
So you build up a currency, and then you have to open packs to get stuff, and you have to just like open up a pack and see what you get. And if you're playing solo, the sunflower thing, if you're especially not a sunflower and you need health, like that's pretty key. And if you run out of those and you open up a couple packs and there's none in there, there's nothing, you can't really play by yourself.
Are the stickers one-time use, or are they?
It's a combination of both.
ability?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's some that are cosmetic options, and those are permanent. And then there's upgrades every now and then that will make like the sunflower heal more, or make like your gun do more damage. And every character has 3 slots of those to fill.
And that's what I have a problem with. I think in a competitive environment, any advantage people get that is completely random, I think imbalances the game. It's like, oh, I get a pack of cards and I get this upgrade for my weapon that improves the damage. That's not fair in a competitive multiplayer space.
But if it's random, I mean, wouldn't it theoretically be fair? Because it just comes down to the amount.
But what
of
if
time
I'm not
you
opening
play.
packs of cards?
What are
if
you
I
gonna
don't
do
know?
with them?
What?
What are you going to do with them if you don't open them?
Well, what if I don't know that they're there?
Then you're not playing the game very well.
Well, but I think that is. But if I play it more, here's the argument: if I play it more, does that make me better than you? I mean,
because it's not like, oh, I want to open the sunflower pack to try to get one of their upgrades. It's just like, I'm opening up a pack and I'll see what I get. So you might get a ton of upgrades for characters you don't like.
it's a slippery slope, right? Because if you're starting that, and then what's next in terms of like tipping the competitive arena? If somebody who plays a game for 40 hours and who smashes me because they have these extra advantages that I can't get because I don't play the game enough, that's not fair.
But you were saying that you didn't really notice a difference with the upgrades.
Yeah, I still think that with the type of game that they've built, like engineers versus chompers is what I brought up in the review, where chompers have an ability that engineers can just stop. They have like 2 things that are like, I can either prevent myself from being attacked by it, or I can stop you from doing it. So it doesn't matter as a chomper like what upgrades you have, like that'll still stop you. So I think the game has enough checks and balances where if you kind of are smart with what character what characters you pick and how you attack something, then you can kind of overwrite that stuff. But you do have a good point. But so do you see yourself, if new content comes out for this, would you see yourself resurfacing it and putting Titanfall down for a second and playing some more Garden Warfare? Does it see the new
possibly.
stuff?
It is a nice change of pace because it does have such personality, and it is visually, it is different, and it's lighthearted. It's a nice change to have a lighthearted game that makes you laugh, but still delivers some of the core mechanics from some hardcore shooters that makes it fun and competitive.